Hello everyone, this is Manny from cohort 15 and I am recording this video to assist you during your shell navigation project, and in the future you can use this video as a reference and you can share this video to your friends if you find this helpful. So I put a message in the Discord giving three options. Which of three options should I cover first? Should I cover shell, git, or vim? And so far shell is the most popular, and I think it's more appropriate to start with shell navigation, because with shell navigation as your base you can move on to git and then finally to vim. Okay, so this is going to be one of three videos that I'll record covering those three topics, and in the future I hope to record more videos to help you as you onboard and come into the ALX software engineering program. Okay, so this video here is going to be an interactive session. Okay, consider this an interactive session. Don't just watch the video from start to finish, but while you are watching, pause, type out some of the commands, type out what I do, try to put spins on it, try to variate it, try to make it your own way, try to see what works, what doesn't work. That is the best way to learn how to navigate your shell or your system. Okay, so don't just watch the video from start to finish. Pause the video, type out what you've been able to understand so far, try out things that work, things that don't work. If you watch this video from start to finish and you don't try out what you are doing here, you're just hurting yourself in the long run. Okay, so I will prompt you to pause videos during I'll prompt you to pause the video during intervals of the video, during sections of the video, so that you can try out what you've just seen so far, see if it works for you, see if it doesn't work for you, and all that. So with that out of the way, let us go into our shell navigation. Okay, so today I'll cover just a few basic commands that I feel are very important, or they are necessary or essential when you're navigating your system through the shell. Okay, so I'll cover just a few commands. We won't cover every command out there because there are hundreds and hundreds of commands. Okay, so with that basic intro, let us look at what a shell is. All right, a shell is basically a program that allows you, the user who is watching this or listening to this, to interact with your kernel. All right, so if you don't know what your kernel is, don't worry, don't panic, don't feel lost. I'll explain simply what a kernel is. A kernel is a special kind of program, a special kind of application that sits between your hardware and your user software. Okay, so have you ever wondered why when you, for instance, press Q on the keyboard, you see Q on the screen like that? Have you ever wondered why? Well, it's simply because of the kernel. Okay, the kernel takes that action, which is pressing the letter Q on the keyboard, processes it, and does some more things with it before it displays it on your screen for you to see. All right, so that is a kernel, and the shell is just helping you to interact with the kernel to do things. All right, so there are different kinds of shells out there. There's not just one shell, but the usual default one on most systems is bash. Okay, bash is the default one on your sandbox. It's likely to be the default one if you have Ubuntu installed. It's likely to be the default one if you have any other Linux environment installed, like WSL or something. Okay, so bash, there's Z shell or ZSH, which I use daily, and then there is also fish. These three are the most popular ones out there. There are probably more. There are more actually. There's new shell. There is SH. There are more shells out there that you can look at, but the most popular ones are bash, fish, and Z shell. Okay, don't worry about the differences now. That is beyond the scope of this video, but that is that. Okay, so right now I'm in a session, I'm in a bash session right now. And let's look at what this text here is. So when you open your terminal for the first time, or when you log into your sandbox, you see this here. Okay, yes, before we continue, let me just mention that you will not be able to follow along with this on your Windows terminal. So if you're on Windows, you might not be able to follow along unless you use something like WSL, or you dual boot an Ubuntu system. That is, the installation process for that is also beyond the scope of this video. So consult your documentation or ask someone who is knowledgeable about these things to help you. Okay, so if you want to follow along, either you do that in your sandbox or you spin up a WSL instance or something. Okay, all right, so with that out of the way, let's see what this text here, when you log into your sandbox the first time, you see this here, this text. It looks like this. It's different from mine, but it looks similar to this, right? And what this is called the prompt. This is the prompt of the shell. Okay, the prompt contains your username, okay, at your host name. So in my case, my username is deadlast at the forge. And then there is this squiggly line here, which is called a tilde. Okay, the squiggly line is usually it's usually telling you about the current directory that you are in. I'll explain more, but for now, just know that this here is a directory. In this case, it is your home directory. And what is your home directory? It is where your files, your personal files, videos, documents, and such are stored. All right, that is where they are stored. So don't worry if you don't understand anything so far. If you want to pause and then go back, please do that. Go back, rewatch, and then try to understand. If you feel you're okay, keep watching. All right, okay, so let's move on. And then this dollar sign is just to prompt or to show the user that, okay, this is where the prompt ends and this is where you begin to type. Okay, so in here we can type any command we want. Okay, can type anything we want here, right? And on that topic, let me mention what a command is. All right, a command is, in simple terms, in layman terms, a command is just a program that performs a certain function. That's it. That's how simple it is. A command is just a program that performs a certain action or a function or something. Okay, so that is what a command is. There's a broader definition because commands are not always programs, but for now, just think about commands as programs that perform a certain action. What kind of commands are there? There's a command to configure your internet. There's a command to set your screen brightness. There's a command for shutting down your PC. There's a command for upgrading your system. There's a command for so many different things. Okay, and as such, because of that, there are so many hundreds and hundreds of commands. Okay, hundreds and hundreds of commands. Now, I'm sure someone watching this has heard this and has started thinking, oh my Lord, do I need to learn all this? No, no, no. Just breathe in, relax, and just know that you are not required to know all these hundreds and hundreds of commands. You are just supposed to know a subset, a few that you use in your daily life or your daily profession. That's it. You don't need to go out there and memorize so many commands. Don't try to cram so many commands. That will just be detrimental to your learning. So don't try to cram so much information about commands and so many commands. No, don't do that. Just know the ones you use on a daily and get good with those. All right. So that is it. So commands on their own, like I mentioned, are programs that are somewhere on your system that perform a particular function. Okay, now commands can also have options. for the for the layman, you can think of them as options or arguments. Okay, so when a command when you write a command, there are sometimes options you can add to the command to give it extra functionality. All right, so just like you have WhatsApp, you have Snapchat, you have you have Telegram or something, where you can go into the settings and then you can change things, you can toggle things, you can change some values to give extra functionality or to change the theme of the app. There are options for commands that can enable or disable certain functions or features about the command. Okay, so we'll look at some of these options in a minute, but with that out of the way, let's look at our very first command. This command, I believe, is one of the most important, if not the most important command a newbie can ever know. And this command is the man, M-A-N, like that. The man command. Now, what the man command means is it's a manual. It's short for manual. Okay. Manual is just an instruction of something. Okay. So the man command is just man, not manual, man, like this. The man command is just a command to open the instruction of another command. Let me take it again. The man command is a command that opens the instruction of another command. So how do we use man? We type man and then we give the command we want to know about. Okay, so in this case, let's look at man. Okay, so when I say man, I mean when I say man, I mean the instruction manual for man. So when we type out our command like this, we hit enter. And now we are in something called the man page or the manual pager or the manual page. You can think of this as the instruction book or the instruction page for the man command. Okay, so just like when you buy maybe a new blender or you buy a microwave or you buy a new phone, nowadays they don't include manual pages. For those of you who are old enough, you know that back then, if you buy a new phone, there's always an instruction page that comes with the phone to teach you how to use the phone, right? So nowadays it's not there anymore, but that is the same idea. Okay, now in a man page you get the name of the command, okay, and a short description, and I get the synopsis or the synopsis here, which shows you how to use the command, how it's expected to be used. Okay, and then we have a longer description of the command and some other quirks and features about the command. Okay, now you see these numbers here with some lines are attached to them. These numbers are very important, but again, these are not within the scope of this video. I won't cover them today. But if you go down, so you can go down, sometimes you find examples in man pages. So in this case, man's man page has examples on how to use. So if you wanted to look at what this ls command is for, just type man ls to display the manual page for the item or the program ls. We'll cover ls shortly, so I won't spoil it for you now. But if you want to know about ls, you can do man ls to tell you more about ls. So we can go all the way down here. I'm looking for the options. There we go. So options. Okay, we have options here. We have -c and then dash config file. Okay, so you see that we have dash and then a single letter and then dash and kind of like a phrase config and then dash file, right? So that is an option, and you see that they are separated by commas. So either you use this here or you use this. You don't use the two like this together. Just pick one. Pick the one that is easier to remember or easier for you to write. Okay, so just pick one. So that is the man page. If you want to navigate through the man page, you can use your scrolling your mouse to scroll through, or you can use the up arrow, or you can use K to go up, J to go down. This is a foreshadowing of Vim, which will be in the next video after the next one. So I won't spoil it too much, but this is how you navigate through your man page. You can scroll like I am doing now. You can use the arrow key, or you can use the JK keys to move up and down. Okay. So if you want to exit out of here, you can always press the letter Q, as it says down here. Press H for help or Q to quit. So press Q to quit, and now we are back to our shell. Very simple, very easy to do. Okay. Now let's go to our first command. Let's go to our first command. Okay, let's go to our first command. But before that, if so far you've been watching and you're still wondering about some things, maybe you didn't understand something I said previously, you can pause the video here, or you can rewind, go back to where your last understanding was, and then you continue from there. Okay, practice what we've done so far. So try man and then something else. For now, you don't know any commands, so you can just keep doing man and then read through if you want. Okay, so now let's move to our first command. Our first command is pwd. Okay, pwd. Now what does pwd mean? pwd means print working directory, like this, right? Print working directory. What does print working directory mean? Well, let's find out what it means. We can look at the man page for pwd, like this, and it's giving us the same thing. Print the working directory of, print the current working directory, right? And look here, in the longer description, it says print the full name of the current working directory. If you still don't get it, let's run the command and let's see what happens. So when I run pwd like this and I hit enter, I get back a result or an output where it says /home/deadlast, which tells me that I am in my home directory. Okay, so this is my home directory. So this command here is useful for situations where you are navigating around your system, you're zooming in and out of directories here and there, and then you don't know where you are. There are a few ways to be able to tell where you are. You can read from the prompt. Okay, so this tilde, remember I said, is the home directory. It signifies the home directory. Or you can just run pwd if you don't have the prompt. Okay, so you can just run pwd and it would give you the directory you are currently in. Okay, the directory you are currently in is always the last one here. Okay, so in this case, I'm in a directory called deadlast, which is my user directory, my home directory. Okay, all right, so pwd, very useful, very nice to use. Okay, now let's move to the next command. I want to keep this video as short as possible, but then easy enough to follow. So pwd, practice pwd, and then get to know how pwd is working. Now let's go to our next command, which is the list directory contents, right? So think of it this way: when you're on, for instance, Windows, or you open up the file explorer, or you open up a file manager, you can always see the contents of the file, of the folder. Okay, the folder has maybe some files or folders. You can always see them in your file explorer, right? So how do we do that on the terminal? We use the command ls. Okay, ls. Again, if you want to know more about ls, run man ls like this, man ls. Okay, and hit enter. You can read more about it. Now let's go back here. So ls lists items in the directory. So let's run ls. Let's see what it lists. So when I run ls here, I hit enter, I get back 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. I get back 17 items in my current directory. So you can see that they are color coded. Okay, so the blue or purple ones, depending on how your screen renders this video, are directories or folders, as you call them. They are directories or folders. Okay, so I have these folders here in my personal home directory, and then I have two files, two videos in my personal directory. Okay, so it has listed all the files in my personal directory. Actually, I lied. It hasn't listed all the files and folders in my directory. It has just listed the non-hidden files in my personal directory. Okay, so how do I list all the files? When I say all the files, including the hidden files and then the hidden folders and other non-hidden stuff. Okay, how do I list that? Well, assuming I didn't know, how would I do this? So you can pause here and then think on it. Okay, so think about it. How do you know what command to run in order to list everything, right? What command will help you learn about a command you want to know about? Okay, so you can pause here, try to figure it out yourself, and then continue the video. All right, so if you said something to yourself like man ls, fantastic job, you are learning, you're on your way to becoming the best software engineer in the world. Fantastic. So man ls tells us more about ls. So what do we want to do? We want to list everything or all the contents of the current directory. So let's try to find an argument or an option that gives us everything. Okay, so right off the bat you can see here -a or -all, and the description says do not ignore entries starting with a dot. That's odd. By saying all, so let's run this command here. So I'll press Q to exit my man page, and then we'll do this ls-a, okay, or -all, like this. Okay, so when I hit enter, look at this, I'm getting more output here compared to this place. See, this one had about 17, this one has way more than 17, right? This one has obviously more than 17, and we can see that some of these files and folders start with a dot, right? Some of these files and folders start with a dot, and I'm sure by now some of you have caught on that hidden files always start with a dot. Okay, so if you have, congratulations, you're on your way to becoming the best software engineer in ALS. If you haven't, don't worry, you're still getting there. It's a process. Don't stress, don't feel bad about yourself, just keep watching. Okay, so if you want to hide a folder or a file, you add a dot, you put a dot before the file name or before the directory name, and it automatically hides it. Okay, so that's why we have all these dots files here, dots, dot, 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 dot. We have all these dot files here. So to list all the dot files, we use ls-all, -all, okay, or ls-a. We hit enter, and we get the same thing. So I just run ls-a here, okay, to get all my hidden files and folders here. All right, very simple, straight to the point. Now at this point, I'll teach you another command that you can use. So at this point, you can see that our screen is cluttered. There's so much information happening here. We're feeling anxious, right? We're not feeling good about the way the screen is organized. So if you want to clear the screen where you get a fresh prompt, where you get like a fresh terminal view, what you can do is two ways. You can run clear like this. Okay, when you run clear, it will clear everything for you and then give you a fresh prompt. or you can simply hold Control and then you press L to clear everything. Okay, it has cleared everything for us, nice and easy. All right, so let's run the previous command again. We can type it out. Here's a tip. You can type out the command like this, or let me clear it. You can press the up arrow key to go to the previous command. So press the up arrow key, go to the previous command, previous command, previous command, previous command, previous command. You want to go to the next command after this, down arrow key. Okay, so that is some ways you can go through the history of your commands. Okay, so keep that in the back pocket. All right, so let's run the previous command. I hit the up arrow key, hit enter, and then I get this. All right, okay, so here is a challenge for you. Here's a challenge for you. I want you to be able to print these items. Actually, here's a challenge. I won't do it here. I just want you to challenge yourself. So there's a way to print all of this here as a list. And I see as a list, as in this one comes here. But once it gets to this place and it's going to print this, it doesn't print it at the top like this, but instead it continues at the bottom. Okay, there's a way to do that. I won't teach you how. I want you to figure it out yourself. So at this point, pause the video, go through the man page for ls, try to find what command do you need to add to print it in a list format. Okay, so pause the video here now, no cheating. Try to find a command that will print in a list and then play the video. So you can pause the video now and then try it yourself. Okay, so I'm sure you are back now. Hopefully you were able to get it. So let me clear the screen real quick. So for those who probably didn't get it, let's find a command that will print it in a list format. So we go man ls. Okay, let's scroll down. I'm looking for something with a list. Because I know what I'm looking for, I'm just scrolling through. I'm just waiting to see it. And there it is. So this is what we are looking for. -L here. Use a long listing format. Okay, so let's try -L right now. So when we run ls -L, look at this. We get this list format instead of it outputting it in the previous style. We are getting it in a long format. Okay, this is useful. This is very useful for when you need to check extra properties on a directory or a file. Now, I won't go into what these random drx, wr, all these things here are, because you will encounter them in your future, in a future project. So I won't go too deep into them today. I won't touch them at all today. So I won't spoil that project for you. But I'm sure some of you have caught on that, yeah, this is the date and then the time for something. But I won't tell you what these are. If you are curious, try to find out what these drwxr dash all these things mean. Okay, you can find that out yourself. Now let's get back to our challenge. Our challenge was to print all hidden files and folders in a long format like this, right? In a long format. So we know how to print in a long format, which is -L. How do we print all the hidden files and folders? That is -A, right? So let's combine -L and -A to print a long listing of all the contents, including the hidden files and then the folders. So let's do this. Let's clear our screen. Boom, like that, right? So we go ls -L -A like this, right? We hit enter, and lo and behold, we get all the hidden files and folders in our command, in our directory, sorry, in our directory. Okay, we get all the hidden files here, the directories and everything in a list format. All right, Very nice, very convenient. Another way we can run this same command, let me clear the screen. Another way we can run this same command, let's go up. This command is, we can simply remove the A here, the dash here, sorry, and then add the A to the L. So it becomes ls dash LA. And when we hit enter again, we get the same output. All right. So this is ls. But so far we've been listing all the contents in our current directory. What if we wanted to list in another directory? So let me run ls one more time. And then we have some directories here that we need to. So let's assume we wanted to check what's in projects, for instance. How do we check the contents of projects? We go ls and then the directory name. Okay. So in this case, project. Now, when you're typing out projects like this, what you can do is you can hit tab to auto-complete it for you. Okay, so if you have maybe a very long file name or a very long directory name, you don't want to type it all out yourself, just ls like this, and then pro, hit tab to auto-complete for you. So let's run this command. When we run it, we see that there are some directories and a file in here. There are some directories: Golang, Python, Shop, VHS, C, Godot, Capstone Project. So many files and so as a file and then so many directories, right? So let's say we wanted to look at what's in Capstone Project, for instance. We can go ls project again, tap to autocomplete, Capstone again, tap to autocomplete, and when we hit enter, we have a bunch of files in here. We have some directories and some files. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so now let's try to look into lineage. Okay, since we are in the same place, what we'll do is we just, to confirm that we really can see lineage, let's run ls again. So lineage is right here. So let's type ls lineage autocomplete. Boom. So we get this file in here: lineage 21 unofficial Linux 4 beyond 0 lte.zip, something like this, right? This is the file that is in this directory here. So ls is kind of like a double click, but then you don't go into the directory. Simple like that. All right. So at this point, you can pause again, try it out yourself, try to see what's happening and all that. Okay, try to understand. Okay, all right. So with that, we've covered the basics of ls. Let's recap. Ls, if we run ls without any arguments, we are just listing the current contents in the contents in our current directory like this. We run ls with a directory path. Let's look at dot files, for instance. Dot files. This is what's in dot files. Okay. All right. What if, one more thing, what if the directory doesn't exist? So when we run ls again, so far we don't have a music directory. So let's say I did ls music like this. Okay, when I hit enter, nothing happens, right? Because it tells us ls cannot access music, no such file or directory. Okay, so if it doesn't exist, it won't crash your terminal. It will just tell you, hey, look, the thing you're trying to access, it doesn't exist, so I don't know what to do. So I'll just back out. That's me. Okay, so that's it. If it doesn't exist, don't worry, you won't break your code. It will just, you won't break your shell. Sorry, you won't break your shell. It will just exit, and then that's it. Okay, simple as that. Now let's look at the next command. We're looking at the next command here. The next command is cd. Cd is probably the second most used command out there, because you'll be cding everywhere, every time. Okay, so cd just means change directory. What do I mean by change directory? This is how cd looks like. Cd like this, it means change directory. Okay, change directory. So cd is just change directory. And what change directory means is we move from a directory to another one, similar to double clicking, but this time we are going into the directory. Okay, so let's list our files again with ls like this, and then let's go into dot files. Let's go into dot files. Why not? So we'll do cd, okay, and then the name of the directory we want to go into. So dot files here like this, autocomplete, remember. When I hit enter, take note of the prompt. All right, take note of the prompt. I'm sure you've noticed that something has changed about the prompt, right? Previously, it read my username at my host name, which is just the name of your computer, and then tilde, right? But now it reads my username at my host name dot files. So remember, at the pwd side, I mentioned that you can always find the current directory you are in from the prompt, right? So let's print the current directory we are in. So pwd says I'm in /home/deadlast/dot files, and dot files is, since dot files is the last name in this part, that is the directory we are currently in, and it shows in your prompt. Okay, so it shows in your prompt. So we've changed directory from home, and now we are in dot files. Very easy, right? So we've essentially done a double click on a folder or on a directory. Okay, so in here we can list files again, right? We can list files, and we can see that this is different from the previous one. Previously, when we ran list files, there was a video something.mkv and all that, right? But you don't see those anymore because it's listing the contents of the current file, of the current directory, sorry. Okay, simple as that. Again, if you don't, if something is missing for you, if you miss something, maybe you blinked and then when you came back to your senses, everything was gone. We had moved so fast. Don't worry, this is a video. Just rewind to the last part you understand, and then watch from there. Okay, so we've cd'd into the dot file directory. Let's cd into the bspwm directory. Let's see what's in there. So cd bspwm like this. And I'll notice the prompt. The prompt has changed from dot files to bspwm. When we do a pwd, you can see that it says /home/data/dot files/bspwm. Okay, so that is it. Now, how do we go back from here, from bspwm back to dot files? There are different ways to go about it. All right, the easiest way is just to run cd space dot dot, cd space dot dot. Dot dot means go back to the parent directory. Okay, so when I say parent directory, bspwm is the current directory, dot files is the parent directory of bspwm. Deadlast here is the parent directory of dot files. Home here is the parent directory for Deadlast. Home doesn't have a parent directory. That's why there's nothing before this first slash. Okay, that's why there's nothing there. So again, let's look at this. bspwm, this is its parent, this is its grandparents, and then this is its great grandparents. So bspwm directory has a great grandparent of home. Okay, so this command here, cd dot dot, means go back up to the parent. So it moves from bspwm to dot file. So let's try it out. So cd dot dot, cd space dot dot, not just cd dot dot. So cd space dot dot, let's run it. Boom. Now you see the prompt change from bspwm to dot files. All right, so when we ls again, now we can see bspwm is here. When we do pwd, you can see that now the last item in this is dot files, which tells us that we are currently in the dot files directory. Simple as that. Very easy. very easy to understand. So I'm sure at this point you are getting a sense of how pwd works, right? It gives information about where you are. All right, so in this case, the children for dot files, let's run ls one more time. The children for dot files is readme, alacrity, bspwm, i3, kitty, nvim, parts.txt, and all the other directories and files. Okay, don't worry about the green files. Again, you get there and then you get to know why some files are green. But for now, these are the children of the directory dot files here. All right, so now let's leave the dot file directory and let's go to the home directory, or let's go to the parent directory for dot files, which is our home directory here. Not this home, it is Daedalus. Okay, so what we can do is we can run cd again dot dot, boom. Now we are back to when the prompt had the tilde, right? So let me clear the screen again, Control L to clear. All right, and when we do an ls, now we can see that video I'm talking about, mkv 2024 something something mkv. It's right here. All right, so we have the directories and all that, they are all here. Fantastic, beautiful, well done. Okay, so we've covered 3 commands so far. Let's recap. We've covered pwd, we've covered ls, and we've covered cd. Okay, there are some tricks to using cd, and you can find these tricks in the man page for cd. Remember the man command. Actually, we've covered 4 commands, not 3, 4 commands, man included. So man cd, boom. This tells us more about, so sometimes you find a prologue here, but you have the name, like I mentioned, the synopsis, and then look at the cd dash. Right, you want to know about this dash, keep reading. All right, keep reading this. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. I know what I know the function of the dash. I just won't tell you because I want you to experiment and find it more about yourself. Find out more about yourself. It's right here. It's right here. So like I said, anything related to the command you will find in the man page. Okay, so you can pause the video now, run man cd and read this and try it out. Okay, so we have this here, we have environment variables, so many things in here, and I'm sure you by now you've realized something, that man pages are unique to their commands, right? In the other ones there were so many different things. In here there's so many different things. Okay, all right, so let's quit out of this. So far we've covered man, we've covered ls, covered cd, and we've covered pwd. These commands here, we've covered them. All right, okay, so look here, I've actually changed something. I'm not supposed to do this now, but I've actually changed something. Anyway, let me exit. Let's get back to our program. Let's get back to what we were doing. So we've been able to navigate now. Now we can go into directories, we can exit directories, we can list contents in a directory, we can print the current directory we are in and all, which is fine. Now let's look at how to create files, or let's look at how to create files, how to view files. All right, how do we view a file? So to view a file, there are a few commands out there that we use to view a file. The most common is cat, cat. Yes, cat. I know some of the commands have weird names, but let's just leave it there. Cat here means concatenate. Is this how you spell it? Yes, concatenate. Its function is a bit different from what we normally use it for, but normally we use cat for reading the contents of a file. Okay, so let's find a file that we can read. Now run ls here. We only have videos. There are no text documents or anything we can read, right? So let's try reading this file here. What do you think will happen? Would it crash? Would it successfully read? We don't know. So let's try it out. So let's try cat 2024. This, remember, tab to auto complete. All right, tab to auto complete. So I've auto completed the file now. So when I hit enter, look at this, random garbage, getting all these weird file, all these weird writings and all that. It doesn't make sense, right? What is this? And it's still going, still going. Wow. Now it has ended somewhere here. This is all over the place. We don't know what's happening, right? So we can press Ctrl C to exit a long running process. So you see, when I press Ctrl C, now my prompt is back down here. Okay, so if you are running a command that is taking too long, you can always press Ctrl C to stop that command from running. Okay, to stop that command running, just to stop it, to, hey, stop. You just tell the command, look, you're taking too long, stop. I want you to stop. Okay, so that's what I've just done here. So I press Ctrl C to stop running cat on this file. Now the reason why you're seeing all these random letters and numbers and squiggly lines and all that is simply because this is a binary file. Okay, I won't go into depth about what a binary file is, but I can think of this as not a text file. It's either a text file or it's a binary file. Simple as that. So if it's a text file, you can actually read actual content from it, but this is just a binary file. That's why you're getting all this here. You understand binary files a bit down the line. Okay, so for now, don't worry about reading video files. Let's find an actual text file we can use. So when I ls again, we're going to projects here. So let me see projects, ls projects. Let's go into ALX. Okay, let's go into ALX. So let me show you a trick. Instead of doing cd and then projects, hitting enter, and then do cd ALX, what you can do is you can chain them together. Okay, so we are going to ALX, which is in projects, right? So we type cd projects slash ALX slash, right? And when we hit enter, it will bypass project and then go straight into ALX. So when we ls here, see that we get some files here: ALX backend, ALX backend JavaScript, ALX file manager, ALX interview, right? So we have some files and directories here. So let's find an actual file we can read. So let me ls ALX backend real quick. Okay, let's go into pagination, 0x0 pagination. So cd ALX backend slash 0x0 pagination. So I'm using tab to auto complete for me. And then when you hit enter on this, let me clear the screen. So let me ls here. Right, so now we have some Python files here. There's some Python files. Interesting. So we have some files in here. So how do we read the file without opening it? We use cat. Remember cat. So cat. And then let's say we want to read the first file, which starts with a 0. So I type 0 and then tap to autocomplete for me, like that. Hit enter, and now we can see the contents of this file here. The contents of this file. So if you wanted to read a file without opening it to edit, you can use the cat command to look through the file. Okay, so we have this here, some code here. We don't know what this is for. We don't know what this is for, right? We don't know what it's for, but it's the content of the file. Okay, contents of this file here, this file here. So let's take a look at what's in 2, hypermedia pagination. So we do again cat 2 and then tap to autocomplete. Hit enter, and we are at the bottom. Obviously there's more text up because see here, it implies that there's some more text at the top. So we can scroll up to view. Oh, So this is where the text begins, right? And then it goes on and on and on, and then it ends here. So this is the file. That is the file to hypermedia pagination. Okay. Now, by now you've noticed something. Whenever I run cut on the file, it goes straight to the next prompt, which is here, right? Go straight to the next prompt. What if we wanted to sequentially read through each line by line, right? While we are reading that we are scrolling through at the same time. That is where the command less comes in, less. So let me clear my screen again. So less is similar to cut in the sense that it also reads files. But then the difference is less allows you to read it page by page, okay? So, or line by line. So when you run less, and then the file name, so in this case 2 hypermedia pagination, we hit enter. You notice that it didn't take us straight to the next prompt, but we have the file name at the bottom here, and then we have the contents of the file starting from the top all the way down here. If we wanted to scroll, we can use our mouse to scroll through, or we can use JK. You notice that JK is becoming quite recurrent, right? This is the second time I'm mentioning JK. The first time was in man pages. So this is the second time I'm mentioning JK. So you can use JK to scroll through the file. So you can see the file is here. You're looking through the file. Interesting, right? Or you can use the arrow keys as well. Okay, so I'm using the arrow keys now. I'm using JK now. JK, JK, JK. J to go down, K to go up. Very simple. If we wanted to exit this, we press Q, like we did with the man page. So you're starting to notice that some of these commands are similar in the sense that the way you operate the output of the commands are similar, right? And once you get to them, you understand why they are that way. Okay, so we have that here. And at the bottom it says end, right? So end meaning we are at the end of the file. So let's exit this file, we'll go Q to quit it. Okay, so now we are back to our shell, right? We are back to our shell. Very simple, very easy to understand. There are obviously more commands that will allow you to view a file, but then I won't be covering that for the sake of time. I won't be covering that. So let's go straight to creating files, to creating, deleting, and then okay, let's do creating files, deleting a file, creating a directory, deleting a directory. Okay, so let's do that, and then we'll move to copying files. Simple like that. Okay, so to create a file, we use the command touch. Oops, touch. So before I continue, again, pause the video here. Pause the video here. I know it's a very long video, that's why I mentioned that you shouldn't watch this video in one sitting. Try to break it down, try to watch sections of the video, okay, to try to understand why you are doing what you are doing. Try to understand what is happening, practice along. So before I continue with touch, I want you to pause the video here or rewind back to ls and then try to practice everything I've done so far. Okay, by all means, there are some files and folders in your sandbox, okay, that you can navigate through with the basic commands we've done so far. All right, so pause the video here, try the commands out. Once you are comfortable with them, come back, let's continue. All right, okay, so I was saying that we create files with touch. This is touch. Touch creates a file for us. It creates an empty file. Now I'm not going to create the file in this directory because I want to leave this directory as it is. So what I'll do is pwd. Now I want to go to home. I want to go to Daedalus like this, right? I could do cd dot to go here, cd dot to go here, cd dot to go here, cd dot to go here again. But it's too much stress, right? Too much work. So what instead I can do is I can write the path for this directory up to this directory. So let's say I want to go to home dead last here. What I'll do is I'll do cd/home/dead last like this, right? Add a slash. When I hit enter, look at the prompt. It changes again. It changes from 0x00 pagination to the tilde. When I print working directory, look at where I am. I'm home dead last. Instead of home dead last project ALX backend 0x00. No, we are not there. So that is what I just did. I just did cd home dead last and then I got straight to my home. Another way you can go back to your home is you can just type cd without any commands, anything. You hit enter, it takes you straight to your home directory. So let's demonstrate. So ls one more time. Let's go into media now. So cd media. Okay, I'm in media as seen from the prompt. Let's pwd. So as you can see from pwd, you are in home dead last media. So let's go back home. Instead of typing cd home dead last, I can do just cd like this, hit enter, and look, it takes me straight home. Or let's go back to media. So I'm pressing the up arrow key to go back to some of the old commands. I hit enter. Now I'm in media from the prompt. Okay, I'm in the media directory, pwd. I'm in the media directory, as you can see. So let's go back home. Another way you can go back home is cd and then the tilde like this. Okay, the tilde is found on top of tab. It is usually found on top of the tab key. So on your laptop or your computer or your keyboard, you can find the tilde key right above the tab key before 1. So the number row, before the number row, before 1 starts, the tilde key is there. And to type the tilde key, hold shift and then you press that key. Okay, to type the tilde key. So once we hit enter on this, look here, takes us straight to the home directory. Very simple, very efficient, right? So let's clear our screen again. Right, so we're coming to create a file with touch. All right, so let's create a file with touch. To create a file with touch, you just write touch and then the file name. Okay, so in this case, let's create a file called welcome to ALX. Yeah, let's create a file called welcome to ALX. So we'll do welcome to ALX. Right, this is fine, right? Right, let's ls and let's see what has happened. Ls, do you notice something different? If you haven't noticed something different, I'll suggest you pause here and then look at the prompt. Compare this output here to the previous output we had when we ran ls in the home directory. Do you notice something different? If so far you haven't noticed anything different, first of all, congratulations. It takes some really level, it takes some level of understanding to not have noticed anything wrong here. Well, it's not really wrong, but it takes some level of knowledge, or some understanding to really not notice anything happening here. And I'll say you should go back and you should rewatch a bit more to catch on what's happening. Okay, so if you've noticed, we have, instead of the 2 files here, instead of having 3 files, because we wanted to create a file called welcome to ALX, we now have one file here. So the files are the white text. So we have 1 file here, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have 5 files instead of 3. So what happened? What happened? When we run touch with welcome to ALX, what happened is touch created 3 files instead of 1. Touch created a file called welcome, as you can see here. It's created another file called 2, as you can see here. And it created another file called ALX, as you can see here. So you see what's happening. If you want to create a bunch of files, you can run touch, and then the file names. So file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4, file 5, and on and on and on, right? So this has created 3 more files. If we take a look at the files, so we use cat to take a look at ALX, for instance, there's nothing because it's an empty file. If we take a look at TO2, there's nothing. Same with welcome, right? There's nothing in those files, right? There's nothing in those files. Interesting. So then how do we create a file, just one file called welcome to ALX? Welcome to ALX. Well, you can create it and then substitute the spaces with an underscore. So touch, let me clear the screen. Welcome underscore to underscore ALX, like this. Okay. Now when we ls, we get welcome to ALX here at the bottom, right here. It's just one file instead of being split into 3. But what if we don't want underscores? What if we want to type it with a space? Well, that's easy as well. Instead of typing it out like we did here previously, what we can do is we surround this with quotes. Okay, so I'm moving the cursor with the left and right arrow keys. Okay, so I'll move it here at the first quotation mark, move all the way to the end at the second quotation mark here, and then I hit enter on this. Now when I run ls, look at this. I have welcome to ALX with spaces. Amazing, right? So there's one without spaces where we have underscores instead of spaces, and then there's one with spaces. So if you want to create a file with spaces, always surround it with quotes like this. Okay, so that's how we create a file. Now we have some excess files here we don't need. We don't need ALX, the file ALX, we don't need the file TO, we don't need the file welcome, we don't need this file either. So how do we delete files? We delete files with RM, 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 like this. I like to think of RM as remove. Okay, RM. I believe there's a remove command on some other Unix systems, but again, that's beyond the scope of this video. But you can think of RM as remove. Okay, RM as remove, not move. Okay, so RM deletes a file. So we can look at the man page for RM. Look here, it says remove file or directories, like that. Can read through the man pages. There are options as well. Options here, so many options here, so many options you can look through yourself. That's fine. So let's ls again. Let's remove the file ALX to welcome, and then this one here with the underscores. We just want this one here. We don't want the one with underscores. So how do we remove? We can go rm ALX. Nothing is output. So run ls again. Now the ALX file, this file here, is nowhere to be found in the new prompt. It's nowhere to be found in the new prompt. If you are lagging behind again, pause the video, go back, watch from where last you understood what's happening, and then continue. Okay, so rm to remove files. Rm run rm ALX. ALX is gone now. Let's remove the rest of the files, just like touch, where we went. Let me show you where we went. Touch welcome to ALX, like this. What we'll do is we'll do the same or similar for rm here. Okay, so instead of doing rm ALX, rm TO, rm welcome, we'll just type it out all out this way. Okay, so let me cancel this. I'll do rm, I'm deleting this file here, and then this file here. So rm TO welcome, okay, and then welcome to. Now, when I hit tab, because there are two files with the same name or similar names here, right? What happens is it will give me options. Which one do you want, right? You want welcome this, welcome to ALX this, or welcome to ALX this. So because I want this welcome to ALX, I'll put underscore there. I'll put underscore here. And when I hit tab once more, it knows, okay, I'm talking about this, right? So we are deleting three files, to welcome, and then welcome to ALX. So when we run the command, again, nothing is output. But when we ls, now we only have one ALX command, welcome to ALX file here, right? Again, relax. Don't, if you're feeling overwhelmed, rewind the video or pause the video, practice it out yourself, okay? And then come back to the video, okay? Create files yourself. So create files with touch. All right. Don't go deleting just about anything. You can delete your. So Linux is very, 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 very easy. As in, it gives so much freedom to the user that you can actually delete your system. Okay. So don't just go around running RM or just about any file. If you want to practice, create your own files with touch. So create your own files, touch this, touch that, touch this, touch that, touch this, touch that, right? And then you can RM those files. So RM the file you created or all the files you created. Okay, so that is one way to go. I could go deeper into using RM, but this video is getting longer than it should. So I'll move to the next command. If you want to learn more about RM, again, the man page is there. Man RM, come in here, read about it. There are so many options, right? The -F or -- force to force something, right? There's -I. There are so many options that you can look at, okay? Before we move to the next command though, let me warn you, let me give you a warning. If you ever come across a post, okay, if you ever come across a post that tells you or it claims to remove the French packages, or a post that contains this command that I'm about to type, it contains something like rm-rf/ like this -- no preserve root, like this. If someone sends you this command to run, never ever ever run this command on your PC, okay? Never run this command on your PC. If you run this command on your PC, what will happen is it will destroy your entire system, okay? So don't run this command. Commands are very powerful. Remember I said a shell is interacting with the kernel, and the kernel is very powerful. It's a very powerful program. So if you run just about any command out there, you might end up destroying your system. So don't just run random commands you find online in the name of learning. Always verify what the command is doing before you run it, okay? So if someone sends you a command that looks like this, or even like FR, like this, please don't run it. If someone sends you a command to run and you don't know what it means, take caution. Try to find what the command means before you run it, okay? All right, so let's move on to our next one, to create directories, right? Let's create some directories. So far we have these standard directories here. We have documents, downloads, games, videos, some other directories here. So how do we create a directory? We create a directory with mkdir, okay? I just like to think of it as make directory, okay? So mkdir, make directory, okay? So make directory, and then we give it a directory name. So let's create a directory called ALX in here. So we go make directory or mkdir ALX, no output. But when you run ls one more time, you find that there's an ALX directory here. right? So let's go into the ALX directory. I'll go cd ALX, and we are in the ALX directory, as you can see from the prompt. Very simple, very easy to understand, right? So let's create some files in here. Let's create touch hello world. So I'm creating two files, not one. If I wanted to create a single file with space in between, I use the quotation marks, hello world, like this. Hit enter. Now this has created just one file, hello world. But if I do this, touch hello world, like this, we'll create two files. So in total, we'll have three files in here. Hello world, world. Simple, straight to the point. Okay, so we have some directories here. We have some files in here. If we wanted to delete all the files in here, right? Let's say we have a bunch of files we want to delete. We can go ahead and go hello, and then hello rm, hello rm, hello, and then we go hello again with the space. We can do all of this again, and then we'll go on and on. But what if you have hundreds and hundreds of files, right? It is just not, it is next to impossible to just type them all out at once. So what we can do is we use the star. So rm star, like this. Okay, rm star. Rm star means, star here means everything in the current directory. So everything in the current directory. So rm star, we hit enter. Now when we ls, we don't get any output back because we deleted all the files with rm star. So that's one good way to clean up a directory. Okay, so let's go back to our home. So cd, clear the screen. So we have the ALX directory here. So let's delete the ALX directory. Okay, let's delete the ALX directory. There are multiple ways to delete a directory. We can use the command rm or rmdir. Okay, remove directory. So remove directory deletes empty directories. Okay, so empty directories, ALX. So let's check what's in ALX. Check ALX, there's nothing. So we run rmdir on ALX, no output. But now when we run ls again, now ALX is nowhere to be found. Okay, so let's check what is in ALX SWE. ALX SWE, like this. So there's nothing in ALX SWE. So let's create a file that will go into ALX SWE. Let's call it SWE. Now, you're probably thinking we should cd into ALX SWE and then do touch, right? That is one way, and I'm happy if you thought about that. But we can just go straight away and just say touch. Where do we want it to be? We want it to be in ALX SWE. And then what is the name of the file? SWE, like this. When we hit enter, nothing happens. When we ls, there's no file called SWE in here. But when we ls ALX SWE, like this, ls ALX SWE, you see SWE is in here. So that should give you a fair idea. We can chain parts together or directories together like we did previously. Okay, can chain these things together. All right, okay, so we have SWE in here. Now let's try to delete this directory here with rm dir. So rmdir ALX SWE. When we hit enter, look at this, it tells us fail to remove ALX SWE because why? The directory is not empty. The directory is not empty because we have a file called SWE in here. So let's see if there's a way to delete the file, to delete a non-empty directory. Okay, so we can do man rmdir like this. Then let's see, empty. Let's search for empty. So to search, you press the / like this, empty. Okay, so let's look for empty empty. So it looks like there's a command here, ignore fill on non-empty, right? So let's try that. Let's see. So rmdir dash dash ignore fill on non-empty. And then let's try ALX SWE again. Now when we ALX SWE is still there. Why? Well, we just simply told the command that look, if the directory is not empty, just ignore it or just skip it. Okay, so then how do we delete this guy? That's why we use rm. Okay, you can use rm for that. So rm ALX SWE, when we run it, it tells us, wait, this is a directory. How do you expect me to delete a directory? So let's find out how to delete directories using rm. So again, I'm going back to the man page for rm. Okay, then let's try directories. But look here, I've noticed something straight away. It says by default it does not remove directories. Okay, so let's find directory like this. I'm just searching it now, directory. So look here, it says -r to recursively remove the directories and their contents. Okay, so we need -r in addition to our rm command in order to delete that directory. So let's look at this. When we run rm-r on ALX SWE, hit enter, let's ls. Now it's gone. It's no longer there. Okay, it's no longer there. It's no longer there because we've recursively removed everything inside ALX SWE and then the folder itself or the directory itself. All right, now let's move to our final two commands: how to copy and how to move files. All right, how to copy and move files. So for this demonstration, I'll create some files, but before I continue, again, pause the video. If I move too fast, I'm sorry. Pause the video, go back to where to the point of your last understanding, watch from there, and then practice it. This is a long video, I know. That's why in the beginning I mentioned that you should take it slow. You shouldn't rush through this video. Okay, so let's create our files. So I'll say pause here, go back to where last you understood, watch from there. Once you catch up, you can continue. Okay, so for this demonstration, I will create three files. I'll create three files. So I'll create touch. I'll do touch to create a file. I'll create file 1 and then ALX SWE, and then I'll create Pokemon 2 like this. When you hit enter, let's run ls, and we can see our files. So ALX SWE is here, file 1 is here, and then Pokemon here as well. And remember that welcome to ALX file we created is still there because we haven't deleted it. So it's not going anywhere until we delete it. So we have these four files. Let's include welcome to ALX. We have these four files here. Now we want to copy these files here from here, these four files to lineage. I want to copy these four files to lineage. How do we do that? We use the cp command. Cp, I like to think of cp as copy. Okay, copy. So cp, again, you can run man cp, read about it. Okay, there are options as well that you can use. Cp takes in the file that we want to copy. So in this case, we want to copy ALX SWE. We want to copy all the files here except for the videos, right? So we go cp ALX SWE, file 1, Pokemon 2, and then welcome to ALX like this, right? Now when we copy, because this is not like a clipboard, we need a final destination for it to go to. All right. So in this case, we want you to go to lineage, to the directory lineage. So the directory comes last. All right. So the directory comes last. So we'll put it in lineage like this. Okay. So tap to autocomplete, and then we hit enter. No output. So let's run ls again. Okay. Our files are still here. Remember, we just did a copy. We didn't do a move. We'll do a move after this, but we just did a copy. So let's look into the lineage file. Let's use our ls command to look into the lineage directory, not file. So do ls lineage. And if you remember, when we run ls on lineage, there was just this file here. Now we have the alxswe file, file 1, Pokemon 2, and then welcome to ALX here in the lineage directory. Okay, so we've been able to copy to this place, right? So let's run the same thing on notes. Okay, so we are copying to notes as well. Okay, then we'll copy to go as well. Okay, so you can add as many directories as you want. So cp takes in the files that you want to copy and then their final destinations. Okay, so go and then let's copy to Amiga, this directory here. Okay, so we hit enter. Oh, sorry, my bad. It totally skipped me. So these two directories here are going to be assumed. They're going to so the cp command is going to assume that we want to copy these two files as well. Sorry, this is on me. Sorry, this is on me. But it's assuming that we are copying these files here and then these two directories as well. And then we are trying to copy everything here into the Amiga directory. That's why it's giving us this error where it says -r is not specified, meaning recursive. If you remember the rm thing, we needed -r to delete the directory. So if we don't specify -r for this, it will not copy directories. Okay, so let's rerun this, but this time we are running it with -r like this. Okay, so what will happen is instead of copying these files into these directories, what will happen is to copy these files here and these directories into Amiga. Okay, so let's run this. Oh wow, this is going to take a while. Okay, it's done. It's done actually. That was quick. So what has happened is I've copied these files into Amiga. So let's ls Amiga real quick. And now we can see that we have alxswe file 1, we have the go directory, we have the notes directory, we have the Pokemon, and then we have the welcome to ALX files, right? So everything we specified here is now here. So anyway, I've taught you how to copy directories too. So if you need to copy a directory, cp-r on the directory you want to copy to the destination. Okay. Okay, let me clear the screen one more time. Now let's do a move. Okay, we are moving. So to copy means to create a copy or a clone of a file or a directory to another place. To move is to permanently relocate a file to another directory. Okay, if you don't know the difference, that's it really. So let's move some files. So let's run ls again. So let's move alxswe file 1 to projects. Okay, to projects. So to move a file, we do mv like this. Okay, mv alxswe and then file 1 and then the destination projects. So projects like this. So we hit enter, that is output. ls. Now alxw swe and file 1 are no longer in the list, right? Where are they? They are in projects. So let's confirm. So ls projects, and there they are, alx swe and then file 1. If you move them to another directory, Very simple, right? So please practice along, otherwise you might forget these commands. Okay, so practice along as well. Remember, create your own files with Touch and then move them or delete them at will. Don't just delete any random files you don't know its purpose. Okay, so we have our files in here in project. That's fantastic. MV also doubles as a rename. Okay, if we wanted to rename a file, MV is our command, right? Let me clear this. Run ls again. So let's say we wanted to rename Pokemon 2 to something like ALX SWE2. How do we do that? Say MV Pokemon 2 and then the new file name. So this is the old file name or the current file name. The new file name we want it to be is ALX SWE2, like this. You hit enter, nothing has happened, but when we run ls, look, Pokemon 2 is gone, and now it's just ALX SWE2 that is here. If you want to learn more about MV, again, man MV. Okay, tells you, look here, it says move into brackets rename files. Okay, teaches you how to use it, and it gives you a longer description and some options like a backup, like how to backup files, how to force interactive. There are so many options here that you can use whenever you want. Okay, so that is MV. That is MV. So these commands so far, let's go over the commands we've covered so far. We started with the man command, man, for the manual pages. Then we go and run man, right? We covered man, and then we covered, I believe, PWD, print the working directory, and then we covered ls to list the current directory's contents. Okay, and then we covered cd to go into a directory. Okay, then we covered cat to read the contents of a file. Okay, so you see when I hit enter on just cat, I can type something, right? But what am I using this for? That's for you to find out. So I'll exit out of this with Control C, like this, right? So we've covered man, PWD, ls, cd, we've covered cat, we did less as well, less, okay? And then we did touch to create our own files, all right? Then we run make there, no, we run rm, actually, rm came before make there. So rm to delete files and directories, okay? And then we run mkdir to create our own directories, okay? Then we run rmdir to delete empty directories, okay? And then we run cp to copy files, and finally mv to move or rename files. Okay, so these commands are essential. These are the basic commands you need to master in order to navigate around your shell. Now, obviously, there are more things about these commands that I haven't highlighted, but for the sake of time, this video is well over an hour at this point. For the sake of time, I'm just going to cut it short here. It is up to you to explore. You are now about to become software engineers. You're about to train to become software engineers. You have to be curious. Okay, so explore about these commands some more. Try to read the man pages of each command. Try to pick out interesting things. Don't try to memorize all the options. Just pick out interesting things you like about the commands. Try them out. Always create your own files to use, and practice. Okay, practice the commands out, and you should be good. If you feel you need a refresher, can always come back to this video, watch it again, and remember, go through the examples. Okay, go through the examples that we've gone through. So you can pause, go through the examples, and you're good to go. Okay. So this would bring our video to an end. I hope you were able to learn something new. I hope I was able to help you. I hope you are a bit assured about how to navigate your system using the shell. It's not a scary thing. You're probably thinking, why is this old archaic thing still in use today? There are more tips and tricks I can show you today, but the video is long enough, so I'll just skip on them today. So for now, I want you to go out there, explore, find out how to use these commands efficiently. Okay, try to find out how they work and all that. Use the man pages. Never forget man pages. All right, so do all of that and you are good to go. So I'll end this video here. If you have questions, you can always ask me on the Discord. I might see it, I might not. If I don't see your message or something, send me a friend request. I'll respond, and then you can send me a DM on Discord. Okay, so you can always send me a DM on Discord once we are friends. So always just do that. If you need help, you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to anybody else, and we'll try to help you as much as we can. All right, I'll bring the video to an end here. I hope you're able to learn something new, and I hope I was able to impart some knowledge to you during this video. Okay, so this video has gone on for a bit. Now I will end it. So have fun, happy coding, enjoy your ALX SWE journey, and on the next video we'll be covering Git and GitHub. Okay, I'll see you all in the next video. Take care and have a great week. Bye.